So we just opened our Rosé of Grenache, the 17th, is that what
18.
18. And you can see how darker of a color it is. The whole spectrum of rosé is huge, from pale pink to this darker.
Almost completely opaque to a little bit more full body like this one is.
Yeah, wait. Cheers. Good shot. And cheers to you. Hopefully you have a nice bottle of wine open and you're drinking along with us.
So we're going to do, Peggy's going to introduce the menu, and then I'm going to start talking about jerk.
Yeah, not that you're calling anyone a jerk, but talk about jerking.
Yeah.
So, and while I'm going to talk, I'm sweating my onions for the risotto. So today, like Kurt said, we're going Jamaican or Caribbean, and we're making a wonderful jerk chicken with a dry rub as well as a wet rub, right?
Just a wet rub.
The wet rub. Yep. There we go. And we're going to make Cocoa Crazy Risotto, which is just a wonderful risotto with coconut milk and mint that goes beautifully with the jerk chicken. And a salad, a Caribbean salad that has this wonderful honey dressing with lime and not tomatoes, but all kinds of dried fruit in it. Just a yummy, yummy salad. So we got a lot to do.
My mouth's watering over the salad already. I can't wait for that.
I know.
I love fresh fruit, and
I know it.
It's so refreshing this time of year.
Before you get started on that, let me just say that I have half a cup of diced onion in my pan, 2 tablespoons of butter, and I'm going to add the risotto because you want to saute the risotto.
Which is arborio rice.
Oh yes, I'm sorry, arborio rice. That makes the risotto.
Why don't you get that stirred up, and I'll start talking about jerk.
That sounds good.
We had a great time. One of our first major vacations together was down in Montego Bay in Jamaica, northwest coast of Jamaica. And you'd go on the beach, and you'd walk down the beach, and we were new to each other kind of at that point, so we were actually holding hands.
Yeah.
Woohoo!
Hey, we still do.
And about every 50 yards, you'd come up on this entrepreneur with a hibachi on the sand, and he was cooking jerk. And you thought to yourself, that doesn't look really sanitary. You know, we go to a restaurant here in the United States, and you're like, okay, I'll eat here. Yeah. But the guy cooking on the beach, you're like, I don't know about that. After you pass about 4 or 5 of them, you get that smell in your nose, you get adventurous after a few drums as well.
Yeah, exactly.
And so you try it, and it's just, the flavors are just off the charts. And you figure the spicier it is, whatever's on there that could kill you, it's already dead.
It's going to be good. It's dead. Fine.
So spiciness.
This is obviously pre-COVID.
But yeah, absolutely. But I think some of the jerk seasonings I've had would get rid of COVID.
Yeah, that could.
Anyway, jerk goes back to the 1500s from what they can tell. There was a group of natives that escaped Spanish rulers. They were slaves. They were called the Maroons.
Oh,
and
my Elgin High School in Illinois, our mascot were Maroons.
Well, maybe they were Jamaican.
Is that what that? I don't know.
But anyway, when the Great Britain invaded Jamaica and ran the Spanish off, a lot of the slaves were emancipated or got away, went up into the hills, and they started cooking native foods. And they found all of these spices up in the mountains, the cinnamons and the nutmegs, and there were lots of wild boar. That didn't taste so hot, so they figured they better figure out a way to eat it because that's all they had.
Yeah.
And so they started cooking over pimento wood and adding all these great spices, and that to me is where jerk started, from what I can tell. Jerk is a term that actually was used to imply the cooking method, where they would actually jerk and put sticks into the meat to get the seasonings into it.
To kind of push it deeper into the meat.
And so jerk became synonymous with the seasoning and the cooking method. So what we're going to do now is we're going to make a little bit of jerk wet seasoning.
Now, just so you know, you need it, according to the recipe, you make the seasoning ahead of time and you marinate your chicken up to 24 hours or not much longer than that, but we have ours marinating for 2 hours.
Yep, 2 hours a minimum is best. But what we're going to do, we're going to add some soy sauce and some olive oil, and we're going to add some jalapeno peppers and green onions.
And those are just roughly chopped.
Roughly chopped, because we're gonna grind them up. We've got some brown sugar and some red pepper flakes for a little bit of heat.
And that's about a tablespoon of brown sugar and just a pinch of the red pepper flakes.
We're gonna add some fresh thyme.
Show them how to take the time off the...
Take time off the clock.
Time off the clock, right.
There you go.
Just take it off the stem and kind of go opposite of how they grow.
If you get a few stems in there, that's okay, because we're gonna grind this up. You'll never know they're there. So we got some thyme in there. We need to put a fresh lime in there. Can you cut that for me?
Yeah, I can do that.
We'll put some lime in, and we've got some allspice, which we're going to put in there with that spicy flavor. And we're going to use some really nice cinnamon. Going into the blender. Some freshly ground nutmeg.
And always use freshly ground.
Yeah, it makes a huge difference. Get yourself a microplane like this. You've seen this one before. We've used it a million different ways. But today we're doing it for nutmeg. We'll put a lot of nutmeg in there.
We love nutmeg. The smell of nutmeg, and it just adds extra flavor.
So good. And we need to get that lime in there.
You take these things away.
We're going to squeeze the juice of one lime in here. The recipe calls for 2, but we've already done half of the recipe. It's already been marinating. Lime goes in. There we go.
Get yourself a lime press like that.
Yep.
Saves a lot of time.
And you get more juice.
And you get more juice, exactly.
A lot more juice. Okay.
Are you done with that?
I'm done. We're going to go into the blender and we're going to grind this up.
Hard to talk over the blender.
All right, it's done. Now we're going to take a Ziploc bag. We're going to put our jerk wet rub in. You can use dry rub, but I just find that the wet rub just permeates the chicken with a little bit more flavor.
I do too. Do you need this anymore?
No, we are using chicken thighs today. And I'm not a dark meat guy. I normally wouldn't gravitate towards dark meat, but anytime you throw some spice or smoke on something, the dark meat's great. And it stays moist. And in order to make this truly a jerk recipe, you want to get some of that blackening and caramelizing on the meat. And with chicken breasts, you can't leave it on long enough to make that happen unless you get it burnt. So chicken thighs are a lot more practical when you're trying to get the true jerk flavors out of something. We've got some cut up thighs here.
And they're about 2 inches
An inch
cubes.
and a half, 2 inches, yeah. We're going to put that in here, and Peggy's going to smush it around and
I'm going to take this away.
get all the flavors on there. And I'm going to skewer. And
Okay, I'm going to always make sure you close the bag before you do this. And you're just going to squish it up to get that marinade all over the chicken.
And like Peggy said, you can do this for a minimum of 2 hours or up to a day. Longer than a day, I think, is a little bit overkill.
Yeah, it'll break down the chicken.
Now, what we're going to do is we're going to put these on a skewer. Now, you can put the whole chicken thighs on the grill if you want to.
Yeah, you didn't have to do these as a skewer.
I like the skewers because it reminds me of the islands.
Yeah.
That's where you buy your chicken from the hibachi man on the beach, and you can walk down the beach with it without a plate or anything else. You can just eat it right off the skewer. So it's kind of a nostalgic thing for me to remember that great trip.
Remember when we got off the plane in Jamaica, and this is our first time that we went out of the country when we went to Jamaica.
Yeah.
And instantly, as we're waiting for our bus, the guy came up and offered us beer.
Red Stripes.
Red Stripe beer.
You want a Red Stripe, Mom?
Yeah.
And you're standing next to an officer with a machine gun.
Right.
And you don't know whether to buy a beer off the guy or he'll beat you up, or the guy's going to shoot you with his machine gun if you buy the beer.
We had heard all these horror stories of unsuspecting tourists from the U.S. getting caught by buying stuff they shouldn't on the beach. But we did it. We went ahead and
There was
bought.
plenty of that available too.
Yeah, which
Ganja
we didn't
wine.
do. The ganja. Yes, but we did buy the red stripe, and no one took us off to jail. And then we got in that bus.
That was another experience.
That was scary.
Yeah, the buses there, unlike here where you have to yield to pass somebody, they just pass and everybody else has to get off the road.
Right.
And it was, we were in the front seat.
Yeah.
And it was scary as heck.
All right, so I'm gonna, while Kurt finishes that up,
Okay.
I'm gonna start adding the broth to my risotto. And I have...
This is going on the grill. We're cooking over mesquite. If we were really authentic, we'd find some pimento wood, but they don't have that at the Wilcox Safeway, so we're stuck with mesquite.
And what are you cooking it on? What kind of...
About medium heat.
medium heat.
Yeah,
Okay.
we want to caramelize it.
So I'm putting about, this is total about 2.5 cups. And I want to put half of it in. And we're going to keep stirring the risotto until it begins to absorb. And so what you want to do is make sure that arboreal rice really soaks up the liquids. And so that's why you want to do it little by little. Let me put that away. And we just kind of keep stirring that as the arboreal rice and the onions continue to cook. By all means, while we're doing this, if you have any questions, please text us. We can see your comments. So if you have anything, I can't see what Sandra had there, down at the bottom, Kurt.
Don't see any questions down here yet.
Okay. Oh, look, Cheryl joined
Cheryl's
us.
there.
Good.
All right.
Any questions?
Uh-oh.
Oh, good. Scroll down on the right side.
Mhm.
Just go over. No, up. Okay. Awesome.
Sorry
All
about
right.
that.
So we're just doing the risotto and stirring it before, and it's starting to soak up. You got to watch that. The arboreal rice, you don't want to turn away and all of a sudden all the liquid is gone and your rice starts to burn. So we're just letting that.
That's a whole nother dish.
Yeah, that's a whole
We
other
have
dish.
rice in the bottom, or like what is it? Spanish, where they get their bottom.
Oh,
right?
paella.
Paella. Yeah, you get
But
that
what's the
crispy
name
rice.
of that rice? That crispy rice? I can't recall.
I can't eat it.
Yeah, wipe that up if you would,
Oh.
and I'll take that away.
Well, Peggy's cooking away on the rice. It's going to be delicious. We're going to put some fun stuff in there to really brighten it up. Some coconut and cilantro and mint. We got these beautiful tomatoes from
Show 'em.
a local vendor here.
No, the tomatoes.
Well, these are beautiful too. That's what we're going to use here.
We're using little tomatoes instead of the big ones.
We also got some heirloom tomatoes, which are phenomenal. We had a BLT yesterday, and it was, it was an
Yeah.
emotional experience.
Yes, it was so
good.
yummy. So yummy. So, I am cooking away the rice. Tell us about what's happening in the vineyard.
Well, the vineyard, we finished doing some topical spraying today. We got some zinc out there, as I mentioned earlier, if you were on early. We also put out some fungicides to try to kill any bacteria out there in the vineyard so that when we get towards harvest, we won't have too many problems with bunch rot, because that's a bacteria-based problem.
Right.
And so the vineyard's looking great. We got a great crop load. No bugs yet, knock on wood. And so everything's looking good. We're on schedule.
Yeah.
And we got 2 new wines coming out in the next month or so. The new Viognier
Sooner than a month for
and
the
the
vineyard.
new Petite Syrah coming out. So we're excited about that. And we've had some people come and visit us that have tasted both of them. And they both went away with a bunch of it.
Went home with
So
pieces.
they loved it. They loved it. So we love it that they love it, and hopefully you'll love it too.
So you can see, I don't know if you can, but you can see that my liquid pretty much has been absorbed into the arboreal rice. So I'm going to add the second, don't you think?
I think it's about time, yeah.
So the second half of our broth, and definitely use low sodium broth in this.
You can.
So you can adjust your own seasonings and not have the broth be the seasoning, because you can't control that. All right, so I'm going to stir this. So what else you want to talk to them about?
Well, it's a couple things going on. We're starting to think about harvest. It's probably 2 months away, but boy, it's going to come fast.
Fast, right?
And so we're starting to think about space requirements in the winery and how we can get things moved around so we can operate in there. We're also talking about maybe selling some fruit this year for the first time in a long, long time, because we've got some space issues. I mean, COVID not only hurt the business side, but it also hurt the
the
distribution,
distribution,
the logistics. I mean, we've got wine in the building right now that we didn't think was going to be there in March, and so we've got to work around that. And thank goodness we're not growing tomatoes or making something perishable like milk, where they're having to just throw things away. Our product will last, but we have to work around it.
But you know, you don't think about it when you're a vineyard like us. That's a full estate vineyard that we're actually working the field, but we're also making the wine. We're also storing the wine, and we're also the distribution. And it's critical that you move the product. So right now, because we were closed for almost 4 months, we have probably 300 cases of wine in the winery that should not be there.
Yeah, not supposed to be
That's
there.
not supposed to be there. That should have been out on your table by now. And unfortunately, it's in our winery, taking up a lot of space. So not only did we get hurt by the tasting room being closed, the movement of all that wine we would have done during our high season is critical to open up space in our winery. So
Because the grapes don't take a break.
no.
And they don't know anything about COVID. They don't care. They are doing their thing, and we prepared them to do their thing, and they're beautiful, healthy plants, but they're doing their thing, and we're in a hard time handling it. So it's going to be interesting. I'm going to go check on the chicken.
Okay. Yep. I will just. So my risotto is soaking. The rice is beginning to really drink up that broth. Risotto is to me like macaroni and cheese are to other people. Risotto, being Italian, I like just about any kind of risotto. And I could eat risotto for breakfast, lunch, dinner, snack. It is one of my comfort foods. I just love risotto. I make it all different kinds of ways. I love to make a wild mushroom risotto, of course, a traditional risotto that has, what's the red little...
Well, it's my...
What's the red little things?
That's a risotto Milanese.
I know, but...
And it's got saffron.
Saffron.
And
That's what
prosciutto.
Yes.
That's delicious. That's one of our all-time favorites.
Yeah, you can't go wrong. Anything with prosciutto in my book is
And
incredible.
then Parmesan cheese at the end.
Yeah.
I mean, you screw that up, you might as well walk out.
That I was saying, it's my comfort food. You know, if I'm having a bad day, a lot of people turn to mac and cheese. I turn to risotto as my comfort food. It's just that kind of, and you can eat it cold, like I said. You can make a risotto for breakfast, and it's okay too. But it is just incredible. The picture's fine because you didn't know it. Scroll it down all the way. That's why I did it like that.
You don't have to say that.
Okay. So, let's see. We got that going. I'm going to get started on the salad, or you want to get started on the dressing?
Well, I can start the dressing. I don't mind
Why don't you do
doing
that?
that a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
We've got a really fun dressing. It's got, we're going to use our famous mason jar blender that we talked about, I believe, last week, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Our hillbilly blender.
Our hillbilly blender, yeah.
The blender's dirty from the making the jerk seasoning, so we're going to use the hillbilly blender again. And we've got several items that go into this dressing.
Yeah, it's just so much easier and easier to clean when you just use our hillbilly blender,
Yeah, throw it in the
which is a
dishwasher.
mason jar if you didn't figure that out.
Throw it in the dishwasher and you're all done. So we're gonna do about 2 teaspoons of honey. So this is kind of a sweet tart thing, and we've got some really nice fruit. We've got pineapple, we've got cranberries, we've got mandarin oranges. So we're gonna put a little bit of sweetness in here. So about 2 tablespoons.
And try to use local honey if you can. It's
this is a honey from that's from Nevada, Colorado, New Mexico, and Arizona. So it's a southwestern honey, and we're going to do some apple cider vinegar.
And you could use a different kind of cider, couldn't you? For that?
A different kind of vinegar.
Vinegar, I mean.
You could use champagne vinegar or just a white wine vinegar. We're going to put a little bit of onion in here.
And it's chopped fine.
Very finely chopped. And add a little depth of flavor.
I'm going to turn down my risotto to low as it continues to cook.
We're going to put the juice of a lime in.
Okay, there you go. I'll
cut that for me. And the Caribbean cooking has a lot of citrus. There's a lot of citrus is available. Oranges, limes, lemons. You can put some lime in there. I love the smell of lime.
Oh gosh, yeah. And what I'm doing is getting our garnish ready for our risotto, which is cilantro. So I'm cleaning the cilantro off from the branches.
Okay, now we're going to put some canola oil in here. Like that, about a 1/4 cup of canola oil.
Or any kind of good vegetable oil, right?
And then salt and pepper.
Could you use olive oil for that?
I wouldn't. Olive oil is a little bit strong. I'm not a big fan of olive oil with citrus.
Yeah.
There's just something about it that I don't think it melds well with citrus. So I try to use a very neutral oil when I'm cooking with citrus and honey.
Yes, I agree. So choose one that doesn't have a lot of flavor to it.
Yeah, you just want it as a vehicle to distribute the flavors.
Good, good.
I'm going to get some black pepper over here.
Awesome. I got my
Put that in here.
cilantro all picked through. Those stems over there.
Put some nice amount of pepper in here. We're going to have a lot of flavors with this meal, so we want the salad dressing to not be a weak sister.
No, it has to stand up to all these flavors.
All right, everybody's in here, so now we're going to do our pretend the blender's running. All right.
Let me smell. Oh, yeah, that smells good.
Lots of nice acidity.
And this isn't a dressing that you want to overload your salad with.
No, there's too many good things in the salad.
Right. So you want a dressing that is going to complement the other flavors, but not overpower it.
Exactly right.
And we're using butter lettuce in our salad, which is a lighter, more fragile.
And it's very soft mouthfeel because we're going to have a lot of fruit in there. So we don't want a big crunchy lettuce like a romaine or iceberg lettuce. You want something that's going to be kind of soft.
Right, but I guess you could use like a mixed blend.
Yeah, you can use mixed grains.
But I wouldn't do one that had arugula or some really spicy kind of flavors to it. So my risotto's cooking away.
It's looking good.
It's looking really good.
Chicken's looking good. I just turned it over. One side of it's got some nice caramelization on it now. And so we're going to turn it 2 times to get basically 3 sides of it directly on the grill so we get that caramelization throughout the entire skewer. And then it'll be delicious.
While we're waiting for some things to kind of cook away, I wanted to tell you a little bit about our new program that we became a part of called Harvest Hosts. So if you or some of your friends love to RV, this is a great way to go RVing. So as a host, we allow people to bring their RV onto our property and stay the night.
And park right in the vineyard.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
And so, you join, become a member of Harvest Hosts, and it's very reasonable. I can't recall exactly how much it costs for you to join. And then you get access to all of these hosts around the country. And they're not only wineries, but they're farms, they're dairies, they're all kinds of agricultural kind of places, and you just travel from one place to the next. It's free to stay at the place.
And instead of paying $40 or $50 for an RV
hookup fee.
Well, just an RV park.
Yeah.
Or whatever it is. I'm not sure it's how much it costs.
I don't either.
But people that stayed have loved it here. It's fantastic. They're all self-contained. So if you or anybody you know is looking for a getaway, not too far from home, I know a lot of us are probably not traveling this summer
hitting the road instead.
like we normally would have traveled to go see Aunt Millie in Cincinnati.
Yep.
People aren't flying, and a lot of people are still a little bit scared to travel. So take a staycation here in Arizona and go see the wine country.
And come visit us.
Yeah.
All that you're asked to do is to buy wine from, or buy product from wherever you stay. We'll give you a special tour and tasting when you come to visit us, and just a lot of fun. So Harvest Host is what it's called.
Yep, we had a couple this last weekend from Tempe, and they just had a blast.
Yeah, they sat outside and watched the stars. And what did they say? They hadn't seen...
They hadn't seen the Milky Way since they were little kids.
Yeah.
So you can see it down here every night. It's amazing.
What do you think? I think it's almost ready to add the coconut milk.
I don't know. Let's see. Let's check the texture of it.
Okay, you check. You want it to be... Well, it's still going to cook, so...
Yeah, that's close.
So add the coconut milk?
Probably can, yeah.
Okay. So all the liquid is pretty much absorbed, and we're using a can of coconut milk, and you got the low fat, right?
No, that's full strength. Full strength.
And I'm going to add it all in.
Yep.
And you can see how thick it is. And that's going to just add a wonderful flavor to it.
Coconut milk is not the healthiest thing in the world.
No?
But man, is it good. I'm going to go check the chicken again.
Okay, I'm going to stir this, and then I'm going to chop up my mint and my cilantro. And a good way to chop herbs is to roll them, make a little bunch of them. Because I'm just going to do a rough chop. And just try not to cut off your finger, which I am known for cutting myself. So I just want to do a nice rough chop on my cilantro. So I just keep bringing it in. So there's my cilantro, nice rough chop, and I have mint. And I'm going to do the same thing. I kind of roll it into a little ball here. And then I'm going to chop it.
Are you chiffonading again?
I'm chiffonading, kind of. I'm actually just doing a rough chop. Oh man, that mint just comes alive when you chop it up.
Oh yeah.
Okay, I have my 2 garnishes for my risotto.
And don't forget the tomatoes.
And I have the tomatoes, but I'm going to just mix up my cilantro and my mint. I'm going to go see if there are any questions.
Okay.
While you stir my
Because last time I tried to do that, I screwed it up. So good idea. I'll keep the risotto moving here. Now we've added some sugar to the party here. So now is the time. If you don't pay attention to it, you could get it to burn, because the coconut milk has quite a bit of sugar in it. Coconut milk isn't that stuff that when you crack open a fresh coconut, when there's that liquid inside. Coconut milk is actually made from the pulp and the liquid inside. So it's a lot more intense.
So Sam is starting on the salad, and he's doing the jerk chicken. And hi, Tiff, and yeah, we're doing jerk chicken. It's awesome. Hi, Cheryl.
I just go outside and get by the grill, and 30 years ago, I'm back in Montego Bay. It's amazing the smell. We
poured the rosé, Dorothy. That's what we're drinking right now while we're cooking, is the rosé of Grenache.
So we're going to open the 2015 the Grenache with this. That's the Grenache that is done with New French oak, and we just love it. It's such a versatile wine. And we think it's going to go well with this, but until you try it, you never know.
You never know. You never know.
You can give my salad dressing another shake here. It starts to get separated again. If you don't keep your eye on it.
You can see how thick the risotto is getting, but it needs to absorb the coconut milk still. And I have that about on medium to let that cook away.
Chicken's looking great. Just put on the last turn. Probably ready to go in about 8 minutes.
All right.
And hopefully the risotto will come together, and we'll put the salad together, and then we'll have some good food.
So tell us about what we're doing next week.
Next week, we are doing baby back ribs, I believe.
Yes, we
And
are.
that's something that I take a lot of pride in. It's one of my favorite recipes. I usually make baby backs for our annual barbecue that happens in August. August 8th, if you want to come down. And I'll probably make baby backs, or I'll do brisket, either one. And I use my own spice rub for that, the Dow Mountain Mix.
But you're going to show some spice rub for the ribs next
So
week.
we're going to do the ribs, and we're also doing a watermelon salad, which is one of my new favorite obsessions. I started working with watermelon and playing with it a little bit as far as making it a savory dish as opposed to a dessert or a sweet dish.
Right.
And so we're introducing herbs and spices and cheeses and all kinds of good things, and it is such a great accompaniment for something smoky, spicy off the grill. What did we have it with a couple weeks ago? We had we had it with
Pork?
no, I think we had it with chicken kebabs.
Chicken kebabs.
Yeah, spicy
And,
chicken kebabs.
yeah.
Man, it is so
So
good, so refreshing. We're always looking for things this time of year when the dog days of summer are here, and we've got another 3 months of hot weather and watermelon and making salads out of fresh fruit. They feel so good to eat, and they're so tasty and refreshing.
Yeah.
And so next week's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to unfortunately have to do the ribs really before the show because they take about 12 hours to smoke. And we do what they call in Texas low and slow. And what we're trying to do is over time break down the collagens in the ribs because they're very tough.
Right.
And if you cook them too quickly, you're not going to get that collagen breakdown. If you don't cook them enough, you're not going to get the collagen breakdown. So the key is to get them cooked just right so that they fall off the bone and have great flavors.
But the reason why we're doing it on Thursday is we want you to do the ribs for 4th of July.
That's right.
So get a good bottle of wine, no cooking next week. Just come and watch us do the ribs, understand the recipe, and get the barbecue sauce recipe that we're going to give you, and then do it for 4th of July with your family and friends. That's why it's okay that we're going to do it ahead of time.
Sure.
And get it cooking.
Yeah, I'll probably start them Wednesday night. I'll clean up the ribs and rub them, and they'll sit all night in the refrigerator, absorbing that rub. And then early on Thursday morning, the smoker will get prepared, and we'll get them on the smoker. And by 3-4 o'clock in the afternoon, hopefully we are good to go. And that risotto looks great.
Tiff was asking us if we had any special sales on our wine.
We're going to have probably pre-release prices on the new Viognier and the new Scarlett Petite Syrah. I think we were talking about 20% off for the first month they're on the market. So the smoking deal, and both of those wines are just outstanding. And I'm excited to have you taste them as soon as they come out. We're heading back to the valley here soon with a truckload of wine, and part of that truckload is going to be our new guys. So we're excited to get them in the tasting room, and Cheryl Lynn and the gang will have them ready to pour, and we hope you come in and check them out. We normally do a release party for new releases, but because of the circumstances, we're just going to kind of low-key it a little bit and just get them on the market.
Well, we'll do a Zoom release party like we did last time.
Yeah.
We did that last time with our release. Yeah. So I think maybe what we'll do is let it go on the market, and then we'll do a Zoom meeting so everyone can get some of that wine.
Come in at your convenience. We've gone to the nth degree to make sure our place is safe. I know Arizona is a hot spot right now, but we're doing everything we can. Our employees are completely dedicated to your safety and theirs.
And theirs.
And so we hope we all get through this together and without completely shutting our lives down.
Right.
Because it's miserable not being able to have freedom like we're used to.
Right. But we, obviously in Scottsdale, masks are required in public. All of our staff wear our LDV masks, and we have sanitizer. We also have a plexiglass. We have a new tasting approach, which we've instituted because of COVID. So we're trying to be extra careful. But
I gotta try it.
yeah, I know, it looks so good. It looks yummy.
You smell that coconut.
I know, I can smell it from here. The coconut is amazing.
Just being on the island is amazing.
Yeah, man.
It's almost perfectly al dente right now.
Is it?
Yeah.
Should I turn it off, or what do you think? Not ready for the tomatoes and the...
Well, let's wait until we bring in. We don't want to cook those too much. Let's wait until we bring the chicken in.
Okay.
So if you want to start assembling the salad,
I will do that. Awesome.
That'd be a great time because I got the dressing all done. And show them what's in the salad.
All right, so we showed you this last time, but we're going to do it again because we just love this sucker. Kurt uses it for everything, even our vegetables. It's a great way to dry everything. So,
And once again, especially if you're frying or cooking anything in oil or heat, the key is to get the moisture off of it, and this thing just does it. So I think I've told you before, when I make my roasted potatoes, I put them in here to not only get rid of some of the starch, but also to get them dry. A lot of recipes call for you to towel dry things. I don't like that. I'd rather let some physical force do it for me. So the salad spinner is great. That's all butter lettuce.
butter lettuce.
That's the things you buy at the grocery store. It's still got the roots on it. So technically it's still alive. So it's really fresh lettuce. That's very soft. It's got a nice buttery texture, hence the name. And Peggy's going to dress it up with some fun stuff.
So you have the recipe over there. Why don't you read it off, the amounts?
Oh, we got the butter lettuce, and then we have about 3/4 of a cup of pineapple chunks. And then we have about half a cup, or a little bit less than half a cup of dried cranberries.
Which I love. We put in. I make a cereal every morning, or every couple of weeks for Kurt, and we use dried cranberries in the granola.
Yeah, it's delicious.
If you want that recipe, it's a winner. Let me know.
Now we have some mandarin orange slices.
And we didn't chop these up. We just left them
they're
whole.
whole, but they're very small. They're bite size.
And then toss this.
Yeah, we're gonna put a little cilantro in there and a little green onion. So we got a few more things to add in.
Okay, let me cut that up. I forgot about the cilantro.
Yep.
Again.
And this recipe calls for an optional can of black beans. We've got a lot of protein coming off the grill, so we're not going to put the black beans in. But you could make this a vegetarian salad and make a meal out of it with all the fruit and vegetables and put some black beans in it. That'd be a great, nice, refreshing lunch or dinner.
All of these onions?
Yeah.
Okay.
They can all be sliced up. Peggy's doing the scallions.
I like to cut them on a diagonal, just to make it look prettier.
Not also they fall apart easier like that. I mean, you want them to distribute themselves inside of the lettuce and the other fruits. Looking good. I think it's time to put the
Dressing on, right?
that and the tomatoes.
Tomatoes in the risotto.
And the herbs in the risotto, because it is looking done.
I'll let you finish this off with the dressing.
Okay.
And salt and pepper, I don't know.
Well, I'm going to go grab the chicken.
Set that up there. And I'm going to finish up the risotto. All of that coconut milk got absorbed. I don't know if you can see that or not, but it's pretty well creamy, coconutty, and it's just all absorbed. And I am going to put my tomatoes in, which we cut up, and all of my herbs that we've cut up into that. And you can smell the mint, the cilantro going in, just incredible. And I'm going to give that a good stir. And you want the tomatoes to start to break down just a little bit. Here, let me get you that out of there. Man, is that awesome. Wow, this looks perfect.
It does. You can see this is the kind of thing you're looking for. You're getting some caramelization. You got a little bit of blackening, but not burnt. But the sugars and the spices and all the good things in that jerk wet marinade being on the grill it just smells incredible.
Let me put some risotto onto that plate, right?
Sure. I'm going to open up my
Did you want me to salt and pepper this, or did you think it was good?
I thought it was great, yeah.
Okay. So you can see how nice and how all of it is absorbed. Just incredible.
So Peggy, do you want to give that a toss? And then the last thing we do for that salad is put a little bit of sesame seeds over the top.
Well, we want to salt and pepper this a little bit. Wait, you didn't put any salt and pepper?
I salt and pepper the dressing.
Oh, you did?
Yep.
Okay, I didn't see you. Very good.
I was sneaky.
You were. I didn't see that. I'm just tossing our wonderful salad. Oh, this smells so good.
Mash open, and we're just going to put a little bit of sesame seed over the top.
Get a lot. I like a lot. Okay. Awesome. We got to get a little bowl for our salad. Move that over a little bit so you can see it. And we put our salad in a bowl. With all the goodies, the mandarin orange, the pineapple, the cranberries. Yes, it looks so good. This is a winner. Why don't you try to take that closer to the camera a little bit and see if we can show that off a bit.
So we've got our skewer of jerk chicken on one side. On the other side, we've got our risotto with coconut, mint, cilantro, tomatoes. Can't beat that. And then our beautiful Caribbean salad with a great dressing and lots of fruit. Lime and all kinds of good stuff.
Cranberries and pineapple.
I think it's time to taste it with the wine.
I think so. I think we got to do this. Take a little bit off. Here's a knife.
Eat it.
You can pull that close if you need. You need to. I get to taste it first. Oh my gosh. It is so tender. And the flavors go all the way through. You get some of that, the red pepper flakes, the spiciness coming through. You get, it truly is that Caribbean kind of flavors that really pop through.
I'm going to try this first. Oh, that's so good.
Oh man, with this wine, Kurt. Oh my God. The mint just makes that risotto pop. It goes beautifully with that coconut. Oh my God. Tell us about the wine.
Well, this is a 100% Grenache, and 50% of it was aged in new French oak, so brand new barrels. The other half of it was aged in 1 year French oak. So second year that the barrel was used, so a little less oaking. I think it's a winner with this.
Oh, it goes with both. It goes with the coconut of the risotto as well as with the chicken. Oh my God. Hi Amy, glad you can join us. We're tasting our meal that we made.
That's good.
What I like about this salad, it's not over the top tart.
Yeah.
It is just well blended, and the fruit, it allows all the fruit flavors to come out, which is really nice.
Great foil to the
Coconut.
The richness of the coconut and the richness of the chicken and the spice on the chicken.
Yeah.
It's perfect cool-off for that.
Yeah. Oh, you've got to do this dish.
Yeah.
If you didn't do it today, you've got to do this meal. It is a winner. And you saw how easy this is. We are not professional chefs.
But if you don't do this, your life will not be fulfilled.
Yeah.
So take it seriously and make this one happen. Get it off our Facebook Live website.
Yeah, on Facebook, LDV or Peggy Fan Doctor
Yep.
Facebook. All the recipes
So
are
easy.
there.
Marinade's easy to make. Mostly things you probably already have in your pantry. The risotto, don't be afraid of it. Risotto is your friend.
You saw how easy.
You just have to take the time to make it work and give it some attention. And the salad is just, you probably have some pineapple in your pantry. You probably have some cranberries somewhere. You probably have some mandarin oranges and some lettuce. And to make a nice dressing, and you got a great, great meal.
I always like to keep these kinds of things in our pantry. So I always like to have mandarin oranges. I always like to have pineapple. We always have dried fruits. I will always now have coconut milk because that's awesome to do. I can think of a zillion different ways to use that. So if you set aside, buy extra things, keep them in your pantry, and experiment. That's what's so fun about cooking. And as Kurt always says, choose your wine because you can't really change how that wine was made.
Yeah.
And then create a meal around the wine, which is what we did here today.
And I think, the key to this is typically, we've thrown out all the rules, but chicken and risotto would go with a white wine.
Typically.
No. This has spice to it. This has body to it. And the seasonings that we use on the chicken need a red wine.
Yeah, they need a red wine.
They need a
Absolutely.
red wine because there's some heat there. There's some amazing, the cinnamon and the nutmeg and all those flavors are coming out of that. And they need something to stand up to them.
But you don't want to put this with like one of our Petite Syrahs or a Syrah. Might be too bold of a wine, and it would compete with the flavors that we have here. But the little bit of oak that we have on this Grenache just marries beautifully with the spices on the chicken and the coconut. I grabbed that piece.
It was calling my name.
Yes, it was.
Delicious.
So next week, baby back ribs. You got to be here for that.
Yep.
It's going to be great.
4th of July preparation.
Yep. So join us.
We expect you all to be here.
We're going to be doing our barbecue sauce, which is world renowned, according to Kurt and me, which is awesome, and watermelon salad that we talked a little bit about, which is awesome. So please try our recipes, join us, tell people about us. Come down to the barbecue. Obviously we're on 40 acres down here, and we can social distance. And so we hope you come to the barbecue. It's on Eventbrite, and you can register or get on our LDV Winery website or on Facebook to get all the information about our barbecue.
And everybody can use a safe road trip right about now.
Yeah,
right?
get out of town, get out of the heat.
Yeah.
It's cooler down here, though today was hot.
Yeah, we'll
but
typically have a thunderstorm in the afternoon in August, and it's just beautiful. It'll go from 90 degrees to 60 degrees in 15 minutes. It's just beautiful.
Yeah.
And the mountains are spectacular. So
Yeah.
come and see us.
So it might rain that day, but it doesn't rain for long and cools everything off, and it's just a fun day. We've been doing it for 10 years,
Yeah.
10 or 11 years or so now. So come on down for the barbecue, or come down anytime, but call us because we're by appointment. Sometimes we don't feel like opening the gate. But
After starting at 4 o'clock this
Yeah.
morning, I really don't feel like going on over
Right?
the day. Yeah, I'm done.
So, but I'm only kidding. We'd love to see you come visit us down here. Or at the tasting room. We're open every day of the week at noon. During the week, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Thursday, we're open till 6, and Friday, Saturday till 8. Wear your masks.
But
and join us.
keep checking our website if you're coming down, because we may be changing those hours based on circumstances that beyond our control, and also the traffic we're getting. So we want to maximize our staffing there and make sure that they stay busy. So our hours may change over the next few months.
And
So
we're
check it out.
reservation preferred because of that, so make a reservation if you would, and then we can get you seated and everything, so.
We're early, we're done.
We're done.
And we're out of here.
Let me just double check to see if there's any more questions, but, and we'll probably sign off here in a moment. Thank you all for joining us. Can you make the whole meal gluten-free and not sacrifice the flavor? Chris is gonna love it, from Amy.
I don't know.
Well, gluten-free, I don't know about the risotto.
Well, risotto is actually a pasta.
Okay.
So that's got gluten in it. You could get some, you might be able to find some gluten-free riso.
Right?
Or
yeah.
What's the other one?
Well, riso's a pasta too.
But you can get gluten-free pasta.
Yeah. So I think you could,
so you
Amy.
probably could pull it off, yeah.
I think you could.
The salad's good. It's just fruit and vegetables. The chicken is chicken, and there's no gluten in any of the ingredients in the wet rub.
Yeah.
So the only tricky thing would be the risotto. You'd have to find the right product to make it work.
I think you could do it, Amy, and it's just a phenomenal meal.
Or I could do the same flavors. I mean, we've got some gluten-free pasta right in the pantry. You can use elbow macaroni instead of risotto, and use the coconut.
Oh yeah.
And you can
make it work.
You can make it work.
Absolutely. So, all right, you guys. Thanks for joining us. We really love doing this.
Yeah.
Since we have to have dinner, it's a nice way for us to share our dinner with you. And we'll see you next week.
Love
Be
y'all.
safe.
Take care. Be safe.
Cheers, honey.